I think the turning point in my life was when I was 17, and at Weston High School, they had a scholarship for one student to go and spend a year in France. And it had a very interesting story. The English teacher in the French school had been in a concentration camp during the war with the French teacher in our school, and they decided if they ever got out alive, they would start a Franco-American alliance. And I very much wanted to get that scholarship and worked very hard to lobby for it. And it changed my life. There I was off. Back then phone calls were expensive. I didn't speak to my parents for a year. We did little recordings and sent them back and forth occasionally, but basically I was sort of alone, and lived with different families, and always made them, or tried to make them feel how grateful I was for that experience, no matter what was going on, and no matter how sad I might have been or anxious. I never showed it. I always try to make people happy. I always try to, I'm not, I don't think anyone has ever called me a complainer in life, or somebody who's blaming other people when things go wrong. I usually, I've always been somebody, and I did learn from my mother that if something is going wrong, think about maybe the 50% that you're contributing to that. So, but I loved France. I loved the culture of art. I traveled when I was there. I spent a lot of time in Paris. In the summer, I went on a trip to Spain with the students from the Sorbonne, which I kind of, never should have been accepted in. But once again, I went for it and made it happen. And so I was always changed after that. And I continued when I finished, my education in photography. I then went back and taught in France every summer for many years. There's a wonderful festival in the south of France every July called the International Photo Festival, and people from all over the world meet there, and there are shows, and I had several shows there. One in the asylum where Vincent van Gogh spent his last years, and they turned it after that into, a sort of mini museum. So, I've always had an interest in people from other countries, and always had an interest in people who were on their own journey. And that's what's really driven me. I thought I would be a writer, honestly. I thought I used to write a lot of poetry when I was growing up, and I thought I'd be a writer. But when I was introduced to the camera, I worked part-time for Polaroid when I was in college in Cambridge. And they gave me a free camera and all the film I could use. And I was on my way, and I wanted to see the work I was doing. I showed them my work, and they continued to give me more free film. And that's what led me to really fall in love with the medium and know that that was going to be my art form of choice. The reason I chose photography is because I love people, and I love connecting with people and interacting with them. And so that really suits me more than a writer's life, which is much more solitary. And I first gravitated to portraiture because, once again, I love meeting people and getting to know them, and really probing their psyche. I mean, I could have been a psychologist. I'm very interested in the human condition and psychology and what makes people tick. And so it was perfect for me.